Countries and organizations around the world are looking to build rules and regulations on AI over worries about the side effects of the technology. One is EU's AI Act that specifies requirements for developers of AI like ChatGPT, including provisions to make sure training data does not violate copyright law. For more, we're joined by Professor Jeannie Marie Peterson. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. The European Union is looking to make the AI Act into an actual law this year. Now, once that's approved, that will be the world's first set of rules implemented for AI, right? Now, what will that mean, and what's the significance of that law?
The law will have a far-reaching effect because it applies to any company that's dealing with EU citizens, and it's also accompanied by large fines. Interestingly, its main focus is not ChatGPT. Its main focus is manipulative systems and biometric identification systems. But even with ChatGPT, it will require greater transparency and measures for accountability.
Right, and it's not just the EU trying to implement such law. There was a Senate hearing with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman last month as well. Why do you think countries are stepping up to control the new technology? I mean, why are they so concerned or bothered in the first place?
Well, there's been a lot of hysteria lately about ChatGPT because it seems to have realistic conversations with people. And people like Sam Altman from OpenAI that developed that technology say it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous because it can manipulate the political process by producing images or text that seem real but are false. Recently, there was an image of the Pentagon on fire, for example, that was developed by a generative AI. So the concern is with the political process. I think this is a real concern, but I'd suggest that people like Sam Altman are trying to distract attention from the power and resources in their own companies, which are not shared equitably between countries and across the world.
Right, then that leads to our next question. Do you think, personally, the concerns are reasonable? I mean, is it really necessary to continue efforts to regulate artificial intelligence?
I think we should be regulating the companies that control the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is statistics. It's the capacity of large computers to process vast amounts of data. Now, at the moment, most of that capacity sits in very large private companies. And that is a threat to democratic government, but it's a threat because there is a misapplication of power and responsibility. So I think we should be focusing on making the companies accountable rather than being distracted by the capacity of what is effectively a statistical process.
Sure. So not controlling the AI, the technology itself, but rather the companies who are taking those threatening moves, right?
Yes, I think so. And making sure that the benefits of the technology are available to all countries, not just a few companies. I think that is very important.
Right. And how effective do you think the new regulations will be if they are applied to those companies who have introduced a new technology? Can you give us an example of an area, where having an AI under control is beneficial, actually?
Well, AI can be beneficial in all sorts of ways. It can give us new insights into medical developments, health, education, finance. We can use it to speed up and make more effective the work that humans do. So I think it can be very helpful. I think it can also be problematic. We should be requiring transparency in the companies, the way companies are using AI, and we should be educating everybody to understand how the AI works so that they're not manipulated or confused by that technology. That takes a combination of laws. So the EU AI Act is a good beginning, but the most important thing is to have regulators and government that understand the technology and have the power to make sure it's used for human good, not to manipulate democratic countries and individuals.
Sure. Now, speaking of our country, South Korea is yet to take those steps to regulate AI yet, but is your country, by any chance, taking, or do you see any moves in the future to take similar regulative steps on the technology?
I think all countries are looking at this very seriously, and I think the main requirement that every country should be looking at is transparency. Transparency means that people who use an AI to communicate with other people have to disclose that it's an AI. So it's trying to get rid of the idea of tricks and scams. Now, we won't stop all bad actors using the AI, but we can develop the technology to at least keep the playing field relatively safe, and also put special responsibilities on the companies that make the technology available to make sure it's used for good purposes, that it's shared equitably, and it's not used for hate crimes or political misinformation.
Right, as long as the new tech is used for good purposes around the world.
It's exciting. It can do great work for us.
Right, exactly. All right, Jeannie, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Melbourne this morning.